Hey everyone, welcome back to the Weekly Awakening podcast. This is episode 270. I want to start this episode out by saying the end of Mercury retrograde, Mercury direct in Leo, has had me energetically blocked and lazy. Now, I use the word lazy light because I go to work full time, I raise boys, and I'm a single mom. Yes, they go to their dad's house, but when they're with me, they're just with me. I don't have a partner here helping me or anything like that. So in my very little free time I work on astrology. And as my kids have gotten older, I've gotten older, and my salon career has bloomed to the biggest it's ever been, and I'm super, super grateful for it. But since that has happened, certain times in my life, it is so freaking busy. And now that I've switched the salon, I'm a month into the new salon. It's been amazing, but it has been astronomical instant growth, which has been really, really cool. It's funny when you leave an energetic setting, how all of a sudden all new energy flows to you. That's how it is, right? That's what we talk about. When we're blocked with energy and we remove it, new energy comes in. So also, I'm in my nodal return right now. And I was thinking about with the nodal return, so those of you who are in my age group, 37, so around this 18-month mark, we have our nodes natally in Pisces and Virgo. And the North Node in Pisces, the South Node in Virgo. And for those who don't know, the South Node is always at the same degree, basically like a black hole or worm in that, the South Node. So a lot of times on charts, you'll just see the North Node. But that just means that the South Node is opposite at that same degree. So I'm having my return, and so I'm going back to 18 and a half years ago. And when my nodes were conjunct my natal nodes, or the current nodes were conjunct my natal nodes, I dropped out of college. I remember I came home, I said, Dad, this is not worth your money. I hate college. I hate school, everything about it. And I went to beauty school a month later. I dropped out and then signed up, moved into Pittsburgh, and went to beauty school. And that is the return now. So now I'm returning to 18, 19 years later. And like I had said, my career that I began with the nodes returning 18 and a half years ago has blossomed. And it's been, like I said, really, really beautiful to see the fruits of my labor that I have put in to see the career blossom. I remember just dreaming, even just 10 years ago about being as busy as I am in the salon world. So a lot of my clients on here that I do their hair, they listen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is because of you that I've gotten to where I am. But sometimes that means that my podcast gets a little behind, and you guys know that, especially for my long-term listeners. So for me, doing this podcast, doing astrology, is a really, really fun, creative mental outlet for me. With all my mercurial energy, I need to do this. I need to release it. I need to talk to astrology about people, about their astrology. I need to say it at the salon, and I need to do this podcast. Like, it feels good. It doesn't feel right when I don't do it. So when I get behind and I go 2 weeks without dropping a podcast episode, just know it probably bothers me worse than it bothers any of you. And I'm sorry about that. And I hate that, because even just for my few hundred listeners I have, it is so important to me. And I love just giving you the astrology and using it in an awakening sense. And like that gives me this extra mental purpose that usually, Gemini, Virgo placements need to have. So I'm going to jump into it. We're going to talk about the new moon in Virgo, and we're going to talk a little bit about what happened last week when I was going to drop this podcast episode. And here's what's funny. I'm so happy I didn't, and I'll get into it, because I was a little bit wrong about last week's energy, but we'll talk about that. So let's jump into the astrology. That's my little spiel. Life is good, though. And now I feel like with this new moon in Virgo, I'm a Virgo rising, Virgo moon. I'm getting back on track. So we will be back on to those weekly astrology episodes. So Mercury stationed direct in the sign of Leo at 4 degrees last week. And then on Tuesday, the 12th, we had the Venus conjunct Jupiter in Cancer, the exact conjunction. And last week I had said it's a really nice, harmonious transit that's going to really lighten up the week. However, nothing was serious last week, but there was this heavy undertone that for some reason I kind of forgot about, which will happen in obviously the moon sign, depending on where the moon is. But we're going to talk about that. So I'm kind of like looking back when I was redoing my notes this week. I'm like, damn, I'm kind of happy I never ended up releasing that episode last week. And it was really just because I was so tired and burned out. I had no time really to record it. I don't like to record at night. I am like, my brain is out the wazoo when I record at night. The morning, I'm the freshest. I'm the most alert. I'm the most awake. So I try to keep it to the morning. But again, like I said, sometimes mornings will get a little bit crazy. So then this Friday, the 22nd, we enter Virgo season, and I love we're entering Virgo season with Mercury direct. Then on Saturday, the 23rd, we have the new moon in Virgo, and it's going to square Uranus leading up into the day after. So again, let's talk about last week. And I am happy I didn't release it. You should have seen it. Like I said, lazy is an opportunity. That's a light word for me because I'm not. It's just like I choose not to watch TV. I just do my astrology and that. And again, it was just too much last week. But what I forgot, like I said, I think I placed a lot of positive high regards into Venus, Jupiter, and Cancer. And I forgot that it was going to be still a little bit heavier than I really thought it was going to be, especially with Mercury stationing direct in Leo. I was like, wow, this is like much heavier because Venus and Jupiter, when it comes together in the moon sign of Cancer, there is this beautiful, benefic, coming together of things working out. But there also was this heavy energy that needed to be released. And especially around family, or maybe you didn't even really know what you were feeling. You just maybe were feeling low, sad, different feelings. Sometimes we don't always know in the conscious mind what's happening, but believe it, when we have certain transit, this unconscious energy is coming out of us, and that's usually the feelings that are uncomfortable, but like not horrible, and we're not sure why we're feeling it. So last week was just a little low. It was still a little heavy, and I think with this benefic, right, in order to achieve true happiness, we have to remove certain energies, certain emotions that are deeply hidden and into our subconscious. And I like to say these planets, when these transits happen, it brings us out of it. And so, Mercury direct definitely feels good. And my Mercury ruled people, Gemini, Virgo, plus people with Mercury in the first house, as well as Leos and Aquarius, those who felt you guys are everyone who felt this retrograde the strongest. So also Mercury direct had me and other people in Leo much lazier. Honestly, I was tired. I was very cozy. And if you think about it, what does a lion do? They sleep 18 to 28 hours a day. They go wild for a few hours, eating shit and all that stuff. And then they sleep again for another 18 to 28 hours. So Mercury direct added to last week's feeling of all those like deep emotional feelings. It was also like the laziness or the tiredness was also very cozy. Like I didn't want to wake up early to record this. I wanted to lay in my bed. Think about after the lion eats, right? It's stretching, it's nice, it's relaxed. You got the Sahara Desert out in front of you, the sun setting. That is also sort of how it felt. Our minds were like, okay, I'm not doing anything. I just need to relax. And there was almost like this little tingly feeling last week within that. I don't know if anyone else kind of felt that. So when Mercury stationed direct, any miscommunications over this last week, or what happened during Mercury retrograde this last week, any misconnections, missed messages, loose ends, they should all be now starting to come together again, starting to work out. The answers you need are coming, especially this week. So there's clarity when Mercury stations direct, like I said above, and the things will make sense again. It won't be so wiry. Mercury station retrograde on July 18th, so now it's going back. It will pass back the degree that it started at the, the 15th degree, which is a powerful degree. It will start and it will go past that at the end. So anything that kicked up around the end of July for you in about a week or so, that all will come to a resolution. Last week, a Leo in my life called me. It must have been 2 weeks now because I forget. These are notes from last week when I never recorded this episode. And I know this person's chart very, very well. Virgo rising, Leo in the 12th house. And I won't get into all their other astrology, but I know them very, very well. And they called me with sort of something that they needed to know if they should do or not. And right away, I wouldn't even suggest doing this, but let alone knowing their chart and let alone knowing the Mercury retrograde, I said to them, it's really not a good idea to do this. Do not do this. Do not go forward. It is going to cause a lot of unnecessary drama and a lot of shit will come from this. So do not do it. And of course, that's how we understand and know our chart. They came back to me and said, damn, thank you so much for advising me in that way, because, the things played out not in right direction, and I didn't get involved. They didn't get involved. Again, that's why we use it, because sometimes, Mercury's direct, maybe, get that done, go that direction to solve that problem. But when Mercury's retrograde, it's like you do not want to go that direction to solve that problem. It is not going to work out well, which is another reason why we need to learn our birth chart. So again, we can proceed now that Mercury's direct with any shady business. Half kidding. So Venus, like I said, Venus, Jupiter conjunct in Cancer, the two benefics. They're happy. They're cozy together. Venus is still in the sign until I think the 30th. Venus moves into Leo. I got to check that again. So we got about another week, 10 days left of this kind of cozy, the benefics being together in the sign of Cancer. In the feminine sign of Cancer. So honestly, like I had said last week, this week and last week will be more pleasant. Definitely this week we're feeling more pleasant. We're feeling turned around into the weekend. So this was last week again, but this week it's time for peace, relaxation, enjoyment, especially while Venus and Jupiter are in the sign of Cancer. This is a time for family coming together, bonding, love, friendship, enjoying the moment. And if there is some disruptions in the home front or family, sit with it, talk through it. Again, allow yourself to process that uncomfortable energy, because what is happening with this transit is also healing you didn't know you needed, which is why sometimes it could still feel a little bit hard. So now let's talk about Virgo season, which begins this week. First off, again, I love that we're entering Virgo season. We're entering it with a new moon right off the bat and Mercury direct. So Mercury is no longer retrograding. Yes, there is this post-shadow period, but we're pretty much well out of that post-shadow period, especially by the time, now this weekend. Honestly, though, in my experience, I feel like, and other people who've noticed, let me know what you think, I feel like Mercury retrograde pre-shadow period is worse than the post-shadow period. This Virgo season is extra special, though, with the two new moons. We have an eclipse in Virgo happening on the 21st. So this Virgo season is a nice pick-me-up. Also entering Virgo season, that means that we are entering eclipse season. We have a total lunar eclipse in Pisces. My mutable energy, here comes some shifts and changes. A little bit of what peaked last spring, but we're really going to be seeing the effects of what's playing out in our lives, especially for the mutable energy this fall. So like I said, we're kicking it off with a Mercury direct, a new moon in Virgo. This new moon in Virgo is going to begin with the sun entering the sun entering Virgo season Friday the 22nd, tomorrow 4:33 p.m. EST. I just did a chart reading with someone who was really awesome, one of my British friends, and he said EST when we're trying to find the time, and I'm like, okay, Eastern time? Yeah, I'm going to start saying EST. I kind of love that. So here we are, EST. And it will right away square Uranus and Gemini, and then or begin that square. And when the moon enters Virgo season on Saturday, the 23rd, 1:24 a.m., they will also square Uranus and Gemini, or begin to square Uranus and Gemini. And the exact new moon taking place 2:06 a.m. EST. And then on Sunday, the 24th at 3:14 a.m., the exact square to Uranus will take place. So that's kind of an interesting new moon, maybe with these surprise messages that lead to healing, that lead to deeper understanding, that lead to deeper awareness. Again, I love this new moon, and I have my predictions I'll talk about, but curious how it's going to play out with this early degree, Uranus just entering Gemini, that little square there. So it's almost like, I think, like someone lighting a fire under your ass. Like, shit, I'm going to get it together right now. I need to get it together right now. So, like I said earlier, my mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces, you guys are going to be feeling this the most, and especially kicking off the eclipse season, but I will have more episodes out. I promise you I won't go 2 weeks without more. So the general, coming off of Mercury retrograde, this is going to be a nice new moon to get our shit together before the eclipses. This is the calm before the eclipse storm. And like I said, I feel like this is going to be almost this energy of like getting fire lit under your ass real quick. Like, shit, I got to get that done now. I got to change right now. I got to change that behavior that I wanted to, like almost immediately, that sort of stuff. Bringing that awareness and acting immediately with it. We are beginning the eclipse season out nicely, laying the groundwork you need, and you may not even realize you're laying the groundwork right now until we have the eclipses starting in 2 weeks. So with this new moon this weekend, you are laying that groundwork, but like I said, you might not even realize you're laying it. resurfacing. Here's some of the general. Resurfacing with a plan that works. It was a plan that needed to happen a month ago when Mercury was retrograding, but the plan was not coming alive. It was not coming together. It was a lot of big misfires. You set it aside. This is now a time to kind of accumulate or get that plan back up and started, and your mind will be in the right place to do that. Feeling a mind-body connection again. There was a lot of feeling of being separated from mind-body while Mercury was retrograde in the sign of Leo, which Leo represents the soul, right? Leo represents who you are, that thing that gets ticking, that energy presence. And Mercury is the mind. So that's why I'm saying this is a Mercury-ruled moon, a Virgo moon. And that's why I'm talking a lot and relating a lot to Mercury retrograde, because we go to where the planet is when we look at this new or full moon. And the ruling planet has just left the retrograde. So now, again, we're going direct. So we're kind of coming together again. This whole new moon is about coming together with your mind, body, soul, in getting your shit aligned. Getting your shit aligned again with your daily habits. And hopefully, I mean, in general, in summer, I feel like we lose our healthy daily habits. But, Mercury retrograde always happens in the summertime, and that actually takes us back out. So, if you can't get it together with this new moon, if you don't start those healthier practices you need, mind, body, or soul practices, you will be forced to get it together with the lunar eclipse in Pisces and then the Virgo solar eclipse. So if you don't get shit together this weekend or align your mind, you're going to be forced to getting it together over the next month. Or like I said, even this weekend, you might be forced. Somehow you have a fire under your ass and you have to take care of it. So two new moons in Virgo, the Virgo season, one at the very beginning of this month and one at the very end. My mutable energy, there's a theme here. Y'all need to pay attention to what happens this weekend and see how it plays out at the end of the month, especially for my Virgo, sun, moon, rising, Pisces, sun, moon, rising. You will feel this the most intensely, but as will my other two mutable signs, that is Gemini and Sagittarius. But again, the loudest for my Virgo, for my Pisces. Now, back to coming up with a plan or doing your daily habits, the urge or feeling to change. For those of you, like I said, who aren't resistant to changing, it's going to come on strong. And for those of you who do want to resist it, it's also going to be coming on strong, but you're going to be thrown into it and you're going to have to, hit the ground running. And for those of you who are prepared, you will be able to hit the ground with a nice leisurely jolt or a nice leisurely little walk here. Now, with Virgo energy, and I talk a lot about on different Virgo episodes, there's a complexity with purity there. They are often strive for perfection within themselves, especially when it comes to being healthy with the body. However, almost every strong Virgo placement I know goes through these phases of drugs and other unhealthy things, to be honest with you. If you know any Virgo or you have Virgo placement yourself, oftentimes they have these extreme of like, they partied really hard, they did drugs, they did other unhealthy things, and then one day they just cut it all out. They just end it all. There's like kind of this all or nothing, again, especially with purity, but it flows. It's a mutable sign, so often they don't live their whole life like that, but it comes in these like kind of hard stops and goes, like all or nothing. And a lot of Virgo placements are very into taking care of their body, taking care of their health, and again, the perfection isn't just in Virgo in their surroundings, especially I know for me, Virgo rising, Virgo moon, it's very much like in my body and mind do I always constantly nitpicking and trying to perfect. And that is a very strong Virgo energy. So my mutable placements be even more so over this eclipse season, like really digging deep into you, like I said, mind, body, soul, and seeing how you need to perfect that. How do you want to perfect it? And what is taking you off that path from perfecting all your health, all your good things? What is causing that suffering or that lack of completion of merging mind, body, and soul? That will play out. This new moon, we want to rest the mind through movement. Okay, we're going to have to move Mercury placements, right? Always got to move, mercurial energy. But like I said, we want to rest through movement. So nothing too strenuous, like don't go run out and run a marathon this weekend. However, go take a nice run through the woods. Go take a hike. exercise your body, but through yoga, dancing, hiking, meditation, things that are like almost flow through us easy. We want to move our body, but we want it to flow easy through this new moon. So don't overdo it. Don't extreme. We don't have it's not a Sagittarius lunar solar new moon. But it is a Virgo new moon. So like I said, we need to move that body. And then through this, you'll get a better idea of like, what do I need my daily routine to look like? What do I need my daily habits to look like in order to achieve the future that I want when it comes to mind, body, and soul? So allow yourself to escape from any worries, any stresses, being relaxed at the mind. This is going to be super important for this eclipse season because eclipse season will kick off. This is the beginning of it, but we have our first lunar eclipse 2 weeks later in the sign of Pisces. And then we have the second new moon, which is exciting, a partial solar eclipse in Virgo again. And it's not every Virgo season that we have 2 new moons, and one's like a new moon on steroids. So this is really exciting. So definitely take advantage of that because this is coming to your life again to align you to your next level, to your new energetic level and what you want to achieve. Oftentimes it's our own mind that holds us back. Actually, all the time, it's our own mind holding us back. 99% of the time, it's our own mind holding us back and our limitations. So with this new moon, we need to break through that. So like I said, this is a lot about seeing the unhealthy habits, seeing the things that are holding you back, and persevering through it so you can have that deeper mind, body, soul connection. Whew. All right. Well, I will be with you guys through this eclipse season. I promise you, I'm not going to leave you hanging for 2 weeks. Nothing along those lines. Again, use this new moon. Do moving, relaxing, meditative things for your mind, body, and soul. If you guys like this episode, the best way to support me is I'm fully self-supporting. I don't ask for money. I don't ask for anything. All I'm asking for is to rate, review, subscribe if you don't, or send this to a friend. I'm always like, if one person sends it to a friend and that person sends it to a friend, that is really, really awesome. So thank you. I appreciate you guys. Happy new moon, and I love you all. Goodbye.